it's with this. Come on. If this would happen, then I would do it.
I think.
They're in. Good. They're templates.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, there's two forms. There's one to send to them to fill out from instructions. And then there's one to request. So they're in, are you using .loop or .loop? .loop, they're in .loop.
You just have to go to templates, right? This is my first one.
Yeah, and if you go into .loop, go into all documents and hit into the end and it'll pop up.
Okay.
Hi. That's there. So what's my range? Got that. Us good.
How are you? Thank God. Yeah. No. So I make that.
Yeah.
What? I can only do some off the back. It's nice. Donate, so.
All right. Watch your heads.
Yeah.
What about?
No, he's asking me about me.
That's. Go like this, so I don't have that. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, thank you very much for being here. If anybody saw the post that I made earlier today or read anything, this completely changed my whole life. Like there's nothing else completely. This entirely changed my life. I'll tell a couple stories and you'll probably say, "Oh yeah, that's me too." Right? All right. Question, Lou.
Ronnie.
Give me to 101 Cleveland Street, Hasbrook Heights. How you getting it?
I'm gonna go in Google Maps.
Maps. He's gonna go to Google Maps. Why?
Because it's the easiest path of resistance.
Okay. And what does the map do?
Gives me the directions on how to go.
So if you want to go somewhere, you got to know how to go,
Right.
right? Okay. So if you want to make an adjustment in your financial life, you have to have a map. You have to have a plan. This is my map. This is exactly how I got to where I wanted to go. So it started like this. I would work, just like every one of you. And Bill's money would come in, would go in the account, money would go out. At the end of the month, I'm like, this makes absolutely no sense. I know what I made, but it ain't there. There's a problem. Right? I couldn't figure it out. So, man, so much to the point, I know you guys maybe heard this. So much to the point where I had to ask my little brother, I think he was like 18 at the time. I'm like, dude, I need money for my gas bill. Like at home, PSE&G. Are they on Zoom?
Yeah, are you doing Zoom?
I'm not supposed to be, but I guess they're trying to record it. Do me a favor. If you know how to get people in on Zoom. Oh, right up top, where it says admit. Thanks.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I was like, yeah, Chuck, I need money for PSE&G. And it wasn't even a lot of money, but I just didn't have any money. All right. So the reason I had no money is because every penny that came in would only go into one account. And when it went into that one account, that's where all the money came out of. So I said, all right, I'll open up a savings account. Anybody do that? Anybody like, yeah, I'll open up a savings account, right? And your savings account grows like crazy, right? That's facetious, right? No, it doesn't. And it doesn't traditionally because I didn't have a plan and there was no map for it. So a lot of this is discipline. So I'm going to ask if I can go around the room. I'll just point. How many bank accounts do you have? Business and personal. 4, 2, 3, 6.
Yeah.
Doesn't know.
5.
Okay, 5, 4, right? So right in that 4 range is common. I have 42 bank accounts.
Oh my God.
Yep, every time Debbie at TD Bank, every time I walk in, she goes, another account? I'm like, maybe, let's see. Okay, so why do I have 42 bank accounts? Because the lesson that I learned in this is that everything is compartmentalized. Everything. Everything. So let's see, Lou, you have 4, we said?
Yeah.
Do you know what those accounts are for? If you could just share with us? Go
We
ahead.
have a Messicola Real Estate, which is where.
Business account.
Business account.
We'll call that operating.
We have a personal account where we pay our personal bills out of.
Checking,
We have a tax account.
so that your taxes get paid, because we're 1099 people, yep.
And we have a savings account.
And we have a savings account. That's traditional. That is what you will hear from a lot of people. So here's the question. Did you ever get a flat tire?
I hope, yes.
Okay. When you have to change your tire, Lou, where does that money come from?
It comes from the personal account that we pay our bills.
From the checking account, because that's how they pay their bills. You guys ever go out to eat? Where's that money come from? Where is that?
Personal,
So it's in the personal. So this is what we all do.
technically it goes on the credit card and then.
Right, exactly. Earn those points. So everything ends up coming out of that same bucket. And so then at the end of that month, I'm like, why is it not where I want it to be? And this is the discipline. So so again, I'm going to go kind of basic across the top. This is a spreadsheet created by my business partner. So I'll give him all the credit in the world. So as realtors, my spreadsheet says when I get paid up here, it says property, I put the address in. And let's just say that commission check came in, and let's just hypothetically say I got a $10,000 check. Okay. So I hit it. I hit tab, and all this happens.
Will you share this with us?
Absolutely.
Oh, good.
So when I put $10,000 in, first and foremost, I have a staging account. For me, I happen to take all of my whatever earnings I get and I put it into what I call my charity account. So again, I'm going to tell you what I do, and then you guys do what you do. So I'm a faith-based person. I give 10% of my money away every single year. So that account is set up for that. But that's also used as my staging. So 10,000 goes into that account, and then I start putting the money out. Pre-tax investment, that's retirement. So I take $300 and I transfer it from the staging account into my retirement account.
Hey, Brian,
Done.
I'm an ordained minister.
Okay.
So if you want it.
Oh, you want my money?
You want to send charity to me?
I'm an ordained minister too. I'm keeping it. Like Lou said, he's got tax account. So anybody who's a 1099 employee, I found myself in a lot of trouble earlier on because I didn't separate for this. And if we don't separate early, we have that one account, and then the tax man calls, and I'm like, oh, I don't have that money, right? I spent it. It's not because it was in the one account. So it goes into this bucket, and it's in the tax account. So end of the year, quarterly, all the money's there. So I take the 10, I go into the account, I transfer 4365. This is where it's going to get very specific.
43% you transfer?
But I'd rather
Yeah.
say take the money, right? And then at the end of the year, I don't have the issue. And if there's extra, I get it back.
Yeah, forgot your tax.
Right, exactly. So know your tax bracket. Are you 28? Take 30. Are you 30? Take 33, and so forth and so on. This is where discipline is absolutely imperative. It is not, maybe, it is imperative. This is my necessities account. This, Lou, is the account I pay my bills at. $4,214.65. That is exactly what gets transferred. It is not $4,215. It's not $4,200. Who's going to miss $14.65? It is all of that. Whatever that money is, to the penny, is what gets transferred. And the minute you fall off of that, the minute you fall off of all of it, because it's discipline. It's not a question of should I? It is a must, must, must. Why? Because I never worry about the money in the account to pay my bills. And I never worry about the money in the taxes. And I'm going to tell you the rest of them because it's always there. Because I didn't under transfer. It's always there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to go into how we create these accounts and what we do with it. I asked Lou if he ever got a flat tire. And the answer was yes. And Lou said he would take the money out of his necessities account. This is a long-term saving spending account. So when I have a flat tire, I don't care what happens about the checking to pay the bills. That money is in that account. Anyone have a water heater go in the middle of the night? Call your plumber. How much is a water heater these days? Replaced by your plumber. Any ideas? $2,000, $2,500. That's how much it is. Now, if all my money was in the checking, this is what happens. End of the month, where's my money? I don't get it. Oh, I paid for the water heater. Yeah, but my water heater money came out of this account, and it took time, and I built up to it. So this unaffected, 100% unaffected. Bills are paid. We're gonna get into budgeting in a minute. What does that stand for? Recreation.
The most favorite.
Yeah, your fun money. This is where my wife and I get into the coolest arguments. Bill hates me for this. So $160.05, right? This one, $266.75. It's specific. Whatever this is, it is. By the way, there's a formula for this, right? So, I gotta go down here. Here. It's a formula. So when I tab over, it's going to tell me what to do. So you might be looking up saying, well, how do you know it's that much money? Create a percentage.
Each column a percentage?
Yep.
Yeah.
Each one.
Yeah.
My recreation account. So important. Who drinks coffee? Most of us. Who drinks Starbucks?
Look at that.
I saw one. Yeah. Okay. All right. You're so cool. Who drinks Dunkin' Donuts? Is that where we're going? It's the cheaper yet still expensive version of a cup of coffee, right? All right, so how much is a large cup of coffee at Dunkin' Donuts?
$4.
$4? $3? $3.50? Okay,
It's like $4.
no problem.
Black cup of coffee, $3.50 large.
Large black, $3.50. Anyone have a coffee machine at home?
Yeah.
How much does it cost to make a cup of coffee at home?
$50
I'm telling you.
Maybe 50 cents, then the Keurig. I'm so cheap, I still have a 1 cupper with grinds that I scoop it in there. It costs me about 16 cents. Straight up, you too? It's awesome. I love it. Love it. Which, by the way, I have a Black & Decker my mother-in-law bought me when we first got married. It is almost 28 years old. I use it every single day. Everything else breaks, not this thing. So, here's the question. Where's the money come from a cup of coffee every single day? $3.50 at Dunkin' Donuts. 5 days a week, 6 days a week, 7 days a week. Mike, how often do you go?
Probably.
4.
Yeah.
Okay, 3 times 4 is 12, 2, $14 a week. $28.56, $56 a month, over $600 a year. Yeah, boom, boom, boom. Know your numbers. 600. And thank you, Francesca. That's the cheaper version of the coffee, right? It truly is. Because if you go to Starbucks or some fluffy fruffy something or other, it's going to be $6, $7.
Yeah.
And you're going to spend $1,200 a year. Okay, that's a recreation for me. Or my, I have all different cards too. My wallet's in there. I have a different account for different business spending. I'll get into that. Why is that in my recreation account?
It's considered a treat. It's a treat, it's not a necessity.
Not a necessity. It's a treat. Now, for those of us in here who say, oh, you don't know, coffee, it's a necessity. I gotta have it. Good for you. It's a necessity. But don't cry when your wife says that her nails are a necessity. Yes?
And the hair.
Well, that's.
A lot of women in this room, that's why there's no laughter, guys, and you're just great, because you might be sitting next to your wife, but it's the truth, right? Because she says that's necessary, okay? So therefore, don't tell me your cappuccino, frappuccino is necessary. It's just something that we want. I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm telling you to segregate the money so that I don't care if you bought a cup of coffee and it was $35 laced in gold. It doesn't matter because it does not affect all of your other accounts. Doesn't affect you paying your bills that month. Doesn't affect your retirement. Doesn't affect the tax man coming. And I'll get into other accounts with spending. It's unaffected. The recreation account is very intentional. I don't care what you do with it. If Lori, my wife, comes home, or can't say comes home anymore, right? It's when Mr. Amazon is at your door again, 6 days a week, sometimes 7, right? it doesn't matter what's in the package. It doesn't. If she ordered whatever's in the package, if she ordered whatever's in that package and it was not a necessity, I don't care what's in it. It doesn't matter. It's her play money. It truly, truly, truly doesn't matter. Can you make some more? Oh, you got one? Okay. All right. Let me go a little deeper on that. Bill gets mad at me because I don't spend that money. If I don't like have like a real big want, I just don't spend that money. I don't. For what? Right? Just to do it. And Bill's like, dude, how much you have in your rec account? Are you nuts? He's like, go rent a Lamborghini. Because that's what Bill does. Right? He'll go rent a Lamborghini for the weekend, have a great time. He's like, that's what it's for. I came home once with a recliner. We didn't need the recliner. I was like, I really want my own recliner. I want my old man chair. And I bought it. And he goes, that's what you use your rent money for? I'm like, yeah, but it made me happy. So if it made me happy, it doesn't matter. Okay? So are we understanding? We're tracking? Yeah. We're tracking. As long as you're tracking that, I don't care what you do with it. Just understand that that's how that money works. Don't cry when your significant other, your spouse, or whatever comes home with something that you find absurd. It doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt you at all. Fair? Okay, so we have, oh, I didn't realize we went black.
How many debit cards do you carry with you?
Not a lot, and that's a really good question because I hate debit cards. Okay, I don't like debit cards because they're dangerous. So I'll usually, in my pocket, I have a slush account, and my slush account is something that I'll trade in and out of. So I'll try to like never have more than $1,000 in there. I collect rents through Zelle. It goes to that slush account, and so I'll sweep it over right away and put it into a bank account for the home. I'll touch on that right now real quick since that came up. Does anybody own an investment property? Anybody? No? Wow, that's going to be goal number one in this room. Please, everyone in here, that should be your number one goal is to own an investment property. Number one. Honestly. Yes, guess what? It's great for long-term wealth, but I know you guys had one and you sold it and you got a great chunk of change out of it. So it's fantastic for generating income as well. So every single property that Bill and I own together has a bank account. Every single one. We operate that the same exact way. So when the rent money comes in, it goes into that account. There's no commingling. Where's that rent? Where's that security? Everything is there. Got to put a kitchen in, got to put this in. It's in there. So everything is 100% segregated. Question.
So with those properties, I'm sure you have like the long-term spending, like for improvements.
Not for the properties. For the properties, and there's only one reason for that, Mike. I don't touch it. I've never taken one penny from any property we've owned. Never. Unless we sold it. Other than that, it stays in there. If the account grows to a certain amount, I'll get into that too. I'll open up either a general high yield savings, CD, or I'll transfer it into one high yield savings. And then I have a spreadsheet that says exactly what I put in there. Money sitting in a bank account. It's earning absolutely nothing. I don't touch it. I don't need the money. Let it sit there for when I need it, right? When I have to put the kitchen in, when a tenant ruined this, that, and the other thing. So that's it, right? I look at that stuff as like long-term. So I don't use it to generate money every single month, right? If I did, and I was going to pull money in and out, then I would do the same thing. So now what you see up here on the screen is not 42 bank accounts, right? Yeah. Right. So as I said to you, those properties have individual accounts. I own a vacation home down the shore with my brother-in-law and sister-in-law that has its own account. So we pay the bills out of that, but we want to make improvements there. So me and my brother-in-law opened up another account, and that account is for improvements. And so every single month we put money into that account together, and then we shift a little bit and we put it into the improvement account. Why? It's the same reason. When that water heater goes,
yeah, that was my question.
That's exactly it. So you have to, that money has to be there, and you have to rate. If you don't, that's where we always find ourselves in trouble. So I worked so much and I never had any money. The minute I did this, I'll never forget waking up and I'm like, oh my God, that account has $2,000. That account has $6,000. Like, how is that even possible? It's because I was intentional and disciplined. You see the money? No, it ain't there. You have a tax account. Put that money in there. quarter comes, quarter goes, that money's still in there. Oh, so tempting. Me and you just talked about this a couple weeks ago. That money's there. You want to go do a little something? It ain't yours. I don't look at it that way. I told you I give 10% of my money away. I don't, it's not my money. That's the way I view it. It's not mine. We give it away. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give it to you.
So
Right?
based on this, then, if you're starting from scratch, you're opening up 6 accounts.
This is how I started.
So
Okay.
to me, it looks like 6 accounts, right? You've got the one that the money comes into,
Yep. So that's one,
you got the tax account.
two,
Well, an
Retirement,
investment account,
3.
I don't really look at it, I mean, that could be
this.
with a financial
What's
planner
that
or
one?
something like that.
That's fine, but you have to put the money there.
Okay.
Right?
Alright, so then it's 7 accounts. right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and then you've got the necessity, the long-term savings spend, and then the 2 rec accounts.
Correct. Okay.
So the pre-tax and the after-tax, those are just calculations.
Bingo.
So column E is the account.
That is the account. This is the account. This is a retirement account.
But doesn't that would come out of where your 10,000 is coming from?
Came out of this. That's why this is 9,700.
Right, but I'm saying you don't need to open up a separate account because you could pull right out of the 10,000,
No, this goes into this is my staging account. This goes into my charity,
right?
and then I pull out and put it into retirement.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So why
Oh,
don't you call that retirement? But it's like pre-tax inventory for.
Well, I don't care what you call it.
Looking at.
That's
this-
pre-tax investment.
Oh, investment.
For me, my retirement is my investment. There's no set names in the account. You can call your account Charlie Brown. You know what it is? Run with it.
Yeah, but it's a good base.
Yeah, for me, it totally works.
No, I mean, for all of us, it's a good base.
Right.
For your TD, is this all TD? Do you have to have a
For
certain?
me,
amount
it's all
in?
TD.
And for like what?
Such a good question.
Thank you.
So Colleen's saying like, well, do you have to have a certain amount of money in each account? Otherwise, they're gonna charge you.
Mhm,
Often, yes.
okay.
So, but you could tie your accounts. So every single time I make sure that my account is tied to something and then that bypasses what those minimums are.
Thank you.
Yeah, so no, definitely know what those are. I highly recommend getting involved with your banker. Like I'm one-on-one with Debbie. I know Debbie's life. I know how she takes care of her mother. I know she loves AC. Like you talk to these people. And what's awesome about that is, let's say something happened where I didn't link something. Deb's gonna reach out. She goes, hey, I refunded that money. You gotta make sure you link that. They care about you, right? You see them a lot and they do it.
this 7 account thing came from the T. Harv Becker, right? Secrets. of-
Mine came from Bill Boswell, so
It came from T. Harv Becker.
Yeah.
She had shared it. There's Secrets of the Millionaire Mind.
correct. Secrets of a Millionaire Mindset.
T. Harv Becker is the guy's name.
It's unbelievable how it changed, but the discipline is the key. So now let's keep going a little bit. Before I give you the other accounts, because there's others, I want you guys to understand how important this green account is. Raise your hand in a matter of 3 seconds and give me the answer if you have it. If you don't, do not raise your hand. How much money do you spend every single month out of your checking account?
Oh, I know it, I just don't want to.
Figure, of course you raise your
No, only
hand.
because my husband tells me all.
No, you got it. Got it.
$1,000.
10,000. So you know that every single month that has to go in that account,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Okay. Knowing your numbers is key. I spent 3 months breaking down every penny that came out of our accounts. I went through, and before I had all the accounts, I only had a few, but I went through everything and I said, how much money do I spend? Where do I spend my money? If you don't start with a budget, this is how could I create any percentages? I don't have a clue. So I knew exactly what I needed, and that's exactly how I came up with this figure and said, I'm good.
But how do you? So that I mean, you're being very specific on one transaction, and 1 month you could have 5 of those. and
Correct.
the next month you could have 0.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
So in 1 month, you could be transferring over 5 times, well, if each check is 10,000, right? 5 times 4,214,
Correct.
but you don't need that amount of money in
That's absolutely right.
your necessity. So does it become a variable, or do you just transfer that over no matter what?
So I'll always transfer it over all the time, no matter what, until your bucket's overflowing. And your bucket will overflow. The minute you do this, you'll find your bucket's overflowing because you're not wasting your money. It's unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable. So Lou's got
I'm constantly borrowing from Peter to pay.
we all are. This completely takes that out of the mix. But Lou, that's such an awesome question because you get to a certain point and you say, well, why? And now when my bucket is overflowing, this goes back to the comment I made about owning properties and those get too high and I know I don't need that in there. So then I will pull that out and I will put that in another account so that it earns interest. And now all of a sudden I have another savings account earning and earning and earning and it overflows again and you do it again. I promise you, you're going to wake up and it's going to be mind blowing how much money you have. It's mind blowing. When I tell you it changed my life, it changed my life. So yes, Lou, you get to that point, you transfer it. You transfer that money. You never not do it because then you've lost your discipline. Make sense? So creating your budget is key. You know what you find out when you create your budget?
Spend
A
a lot.
lot of money.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So much.
Things that
So
are
true.
necessary.
Yeah. What we waste our money on. And you said, so it's a great exercise for that.
The thing that we found out the most was how much you're spending on DoorDash.
Right.
Like just food in general is just
Yeah.
crazy.
And food is super
Yeah.
expensive. Right?
Great.
So,
Yeah.
so Lou talks about
Three
food.
kids.
Yeah.
You know?
How many,
They're all
how
using
many have
them.
apps on their phone that they're paying?
Oh,
The
Yeah,
subscriptions
that's
on the
so
phone.
true.
Yeah.
I have one that I pay for and that's it. I will not pay for an app. Refuse because of that. I just won't.
But where would that come out from? Your rent or your necessities? It doesn't have. Is it?
Depends on what the app is.
Yeah.
Is the app for fun or is the app for business? Is he right? So you could have, we said you have an operating account.
Yeah.
If you have an operating account and that app is used for business, that's where that essentially would come from, right? So that's a necessity. But necessities for business come out of operating accounts, not your personal necessities account. That personal necessities account is for your bills. Something for work is for work. Okay? There's a lot of in and out on this and a lot of tracking, but that's how you know what you're spending your money on. That's why the exercise is so good. You'll start to pull stuff out. And you're like, there's no way I'm doing this. There's no way I'm doing this. So food, very expensive. You guys go out to dinner? Right? Yeah? Okay.
Lunch, breakfast?
Snacks. And 9 times out of 10, Bill, borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, is it all the same? Very often, right? Not you, I'm saying very often. So we pull out the same credit card, we buy lunch, and if it was cash, it's because I went to the ATM out of the same account and it's there. When we go out to dinner, we have a dining card. There's an account for going out to dinner. And if you spend all that money, if that dining account is down to $100 or whatever the minimum is, so I don't have to get charged anything. Oh, you guys want to go out tonight? Can't do it.
How do you know how much to put in to begin with?
Am I dining? So now thank you. This is me coming back to Lou. Lou, when I get to the point where the necessities starts to overflow, I could do one of two things. I could completely restructure this and add all the other accounts, or I take my overages. And then I do as I please. I'm $200 every other week. That's what goes into that account. And if I have an overage, put extra in it. You know what I mean? It's okay. It's okay.
Like Lou was saying that sometimes you're gonna have multiple checks coming in at one given time, and then you're gonna have a dry spell.
Yep.
How do you determine, and I mean, I know we're supposed to have 6 months. So once we reach.
I have that account. I have a reserves account. So as this thing started to bubble over, built a reserves account. I have an account right now that says mortgage overage. It has $90,000 in it. If the world goes to hell, I'm paying my mortgage until the 90 grand runs out. So what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be prepped and ready for it. I might be eating ramen, but I'll pay my mortgage. You know what I'm saying? And so much to the point where this is why this is so important. So much to the point where just because there's 90,000 in that account doesn't mean I'll every now and then go and have that filet mignon. That's for my mortgage. So if everything went to hell in a handbasket, that's what that account is for. Period. The end. You do not wait. You do not. So with your reserves, have that reserve. For
So
sure.
that's where it should go first. If-
Fill that bucket first. Oh, yeah. Well, actually, no, you're supposed to pay yourself first. So always go to retirement first, which is why it's my first topic. Always pay yourself first. Take that money out. Number one, take it out, pay yourself.
So if you got multiple checks, I'm sorry. So
Good, man.
if you got multiple, all you really need to do is just add columns. Like your next.
Oh, it's over here, yeah, just your property.
Property, next check,
Boom,
the
boom.
formula will calculate all of it, basically. and-
So yeah, so let's just say I sold, 10 Clear Street and I got 8,000. Did that not carry over? Oh, you know what?
Copy the formula.
It's, yeah, no,
Okay.
and I hit copy on this, that's why.
Well, you gotta copy the formula.
Exactly.
It's gonna be terrible at spreadsheets.
No, just do undo. Go
Oh, I
like
do have
three
to do
undos.
undo, yeah.
Yeah. One more.
I'll do one more and I'll leave
Yeah.
that. Here, I'll go like this for you guys. Here. This is for the years. This is mine. So every time it comes out,
You're just adding columns.
that's it. I drag the whole formula down and it goes.
So then, when you put that in, then you're disciplined, and say, okay, so I need to put, 146.67 into this account, I need to put, right?
Yep.
So,
Now, as you add accounts for desirability
yeah,
or for certain needs, I'm gonna tell you one of those, it's the overage. As you get to the point, I asked you very poignantly, is how much money do you spend every month? Probably knows you spends 10,000. You know what should be in that account. So I'll make sure that account is always funded at a certain level, whatever level it is that I'm comfortable with, plus the reserve. So I'll know where I'm like, okay, I got extra. Where am I putting this? That could be in a specific savings account. I have an account. Does anybody buy stocks, bonds, crypto, anything? I take a little bit of money out and I have an account. I call it Aiosa Investments. I want to make an investment. That's where it goes to. There's $10 in, there's $10 in it. $1,000, there's $1,000. But I fund it through all of these overages on the necessities account.
so Ron.
So necessities, I'm so sorry, resets to zero every single, not really.
No, I don't run it. It's a great question. I don't run it like an operating account like we do the business where you reset to zero, refund and go, right? Why? Because money comes in at different stages throughout the month
Yeah.
and different bills come in at different times throughout the month. So you might have 10,000, next month it might be 8, next month it might be 12. You just know your general average.
Okay. So Ron, okay, so I remember Bill, you or Bill did this like 2 years or so ago, right? And that's where it kind of got me going.
Yeah.
And so I tried to talk to my husband about doing this, right? But he's like, no, I just need like, I don't know how to say, snap out of it,
Take money out of his pocket.
What's that?
Take money out of his pocket.
Yeah,
100% dead serious. Take the money out because that's what he's doing.
right,
He's taking money out of his pocket and he's burning it,
okay.
and all of a sudden at the end of the year, you're gonna say, whoa, here's that money.
So if we
I don't have
could
to
get
worry
a
about it.
Copy of this. that would be
I'll
great.
send this to you guys that you could then recreate for
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
I want to go more too and give you, there's no end to this.
Mm.
It's whatever you want. So I have the trip of a lifetime coming up.
Mhm.
I knew I was doing this.
Just curious.
I started saving for this separately. So if I had a savings account, I wasn't going to take the money out of that for my vacation. I created a separate account, labeled it, it had a name, and I just put money in there. So every time I had an overage, I put a little bit. I knew what my target was. Once I hit my target, I stopped funding that. That was good. That was all done. We just had our first grandson. I opened up an account for him probably 9 months before he was born. Money, overages. It's there. If you don't do that, the overages stay in the checking and they go to nothing. They go to waste, right? We laughed the other day. I don't care where you sit on the aisle of politics, but we talked about Doge. I told my mother, I go, Ma, yours is dope, right? I'm a Doge, D-O-D-E. I go, it's Department of Debbie efficiency because my mother wastes money like it's going out of style. Sorry, Mom, I know on my camera, but it is so true. Right? It is so true. So we laughed about it because just waste. She does she had no idea where the money goes. So again, if you bring it down and you categorize everything, waste doesn't matter when it comes out of the account. That doesn't matter.
Right, for the waste.
So I walked in late and
Yeah,
stuff, so
yeah.
the necessities column, how are you determining the necessities? Like,
Budget.
So your budget for like including like everything you have to pay in that month is what you're talking about?
Correct. You have a car payment, you have food on the table, you have insurance, you have a cell phone bill, everything that I need.
Okay,
That's my true necessities account.
okay,
And
and that'll cover everything.
you cap it like you, just for example, the 10 grand. Do you cap your necessities, at example, like 12 or 14 in case you need that buffer? And then the rest of that is considered overflow?
Well, there's always gonna be reserve money in there. So let's say, if mine was 10,000 every single month, I would probably leave, I'd probably always keep mine steady at like 25.
Yeah.
Always, always. I'm not gonna, listen, if you wanna get granular, keep it at 13 and constantly shift that money. I like leaving a little in there. I lose a couple of dollars, pennies on interest somewhere else. That doesn't bother me as much.
That's why I said, 10, but do you leave 14? So you leave 25.
I would.
Yeah.
I got nothing to worry about then, right? Because then you feel, this is a personal thing. I feel very comfortable when I see that in there.
You're a month and a half ahead.
I like that. Otherwise I start to, oof, what's going on? I just don't like that feeling at all. Trying to think of maybe some of the other, go ahead.
Question. You mentioned that in when you were budgeting, you spent several months figuring out.
Took me
where
3
all the
months.
numbers were and where all the money was going.
Yeah,
So correct me if I'm wrong, the three top things you made sure was your taxes,
yep,
your charity giving,
yep.
and your necessities.
And my retirement money.
And your.
I pay myself first.
So
Yep.
that every other.
Keep going.
percentage-
That wasn't it. Long-term saving spending, mortgage is a necessity, right? Long-term saving spending, and then our two play accounts.
I'm
So,
just trying to understand how you got to percentages for each column.
so your necessities is your general one where you'll know I need X dollars.
Right.
I know roughly, I think one of you guys had that question. I know roughly how much money I make a year. You know roughly how much money you make a month. That's your percentage. So if you said, hey, I know I make $10,000 a month and I know that I need 60% of that for my necessities, that's your figure.
And then.
Yep. And then you'll always have a little bit extra. You'll leave that extra. And then as it bubbles over, you'll transfer it to a different bucket.
Okay.
So one of the banks, I'm gonna open up, see if there's something else in here. One of the banks that Bill really likes, we use is Ally Bank. It's an online bank, if anybody uses it.
Is that ALLY, right?
ALLY.
Yeah.
They actually have what's called buckets.
Yeah,
So you have one account, you have that, right?
no.
Okay, so you have that and then you have buckets and you could say whatever the bucket is for. If not, like I also have TV, so that's where my spreadsheet will come in. So I have, I'll show you the transfers.
You haven't had any issues with ALLY?
No, not yet.
No, okay.
So far, so good. So a couple of the other accounts that I have, giving you guys some ideas. College.
College insurance.
Yep, so college is another one where I don't want it to come out of that account. So as I have my overages, or I factor that into how much I know college is gonna cost, and I'll adjust the percentages accordingly. No big deal. I know that I need X dollars per month. I know how much money I make. You could reverse engineer the entire thing and tell yourself exactly how much money you need to save for that. Not too many people in the world can save exactly what they need for college, right? Unless they start doing it when the baby is in the womb. But college, gift money. So gift money for us this is really my wife's account. So if she gets, let's say, well, it's a we thing, but it's a her thing. What do I mean by that? If we get a gift for Christmas from like a family member, that's a we thing, then it's hers, and then it's in the gift account. So Lori knows what's in that account, and she can do whatever she wants with it.
Smart woman.
Yep.
But that's the kind of thing that really adds up when you don't realize it. You got birthdays, you got holidays, you got weddings, you got showers, you got, and then
All of it.
where are you pulling that from?
Exactly. So now if you set up, so long-term savings, long-term spending, that money's always there. It's always there. It takes a little while. You have to build it up.
Yeah.
We'll get there. I have my Italy account for my vacation, which this one, guys, as I took money, I would put money in here and then I would label it. So it went to the Discover High Yield Savings. I did a transfer through that. I said the mortgage transfer account, but this is what it was. So my tax account, I said, hey, I got extra here, right? Like you said, why do you put so much in there? I'm like, oh, I got extra in my tax account. Let me go let it earn interest. And at the end of the quarter, I'll take it out.
Can you go back to the original spreadsheet?
Sure,
for a
bud.
second? No, the original.
Oh, the first one I did?
Yeah, it's easier. You got too many transactions on there.
Yeah, that's years and years and years.
So, how are you in this spreadsheet example here accommodating for business expenses? So I don't see a line item on here that says we're paying showing time, we're paying our, our monthly bills for our business expenses.
Well, that's because.
So now I have to go to this one for you. Cause it took me forever to do this, Lou. See the word allocation?
Yeah,
Notice you don't see property addresses anymore.
okay,
I don't get paid that way anymore. Every time a commission check comes in, it goes into another account that we have, which is called RAWB. Ronnie, Aiosa, William Boswell. A little
Right.
tricky, huh? And
but if we know
get a
that,
salary.
so if we know, right, as Mr. Cole Real Estate Group, if our check comes in, it's 10 grand and we run at about 34% business expense,
Bingo.
then we're gonna create a column that's gonna pull $3,200 out.
Correct.
From that commission check.
Yep.
So then it get and then if you need 50% of that money for necessities, then you've got X% left and that's how it gets.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And Lou, that's where it comes down to pennies, and it doesn't matter. If I go way back into the beginning, there's sometimes I transferred $15.68 to the recreation account because the check was small. So what? But that's the discipline. You do it. You do not change that.
But that's also a different spreadsheet, because this is your house. Your family. So you wouldn't
But the
put,
money has to.
This is the general one I'm showing you. I have all the other accounts so that when my bucket is full on each one, I then disseminate as I see fit. If I wanted to go granular, I would just add another column and adjust the percentages, which I could easily do.
yeah, but like this is your household. This particular example is your household.
That is correct.
You have a separate one for business, correct?
Now, yes. This was how I originally how I started it out, and money came off of our original. So if I showed 10,000, that was the 10,000 I took. But that check might have been 15,000 and 5,000 went into our business, and then I took 10. And then to your point, separate spreadsheet for that, because that was business.
Yeah, because like commingling, you start putting all of this shit on your household.
Right.
It's just gonna wind up.
100, which is why getting yourself to a salary as fast as possible is absolutely the best way. It's not easy. That took me a lot of years to do that. I fought it. I fought it, but I got there.
So what if the check is less than the amount that even covers your necessities? How is that being distributed?
It's a percentage.
Okay.
It's a percentage, so it doesn't matter, right? So look, that check might be 10,000 today. Tomorrow it might be 30,000. You got a big hit. Then you might have a rental with $700.
Right.
It doesn't matter what it is. Yep.
And then it's gonna, okay.
And you keep that discipline in there. I don't care what the amount is. That's what you transfer. But this brings up a really good point. How does any of this happen? How?
Working.
You gotta work and you gotta earn the money, right? Like it doesn't just like show up and the $10,000 checks don't just appear. Like we have to go out and we have to earn the money. So there is a cause and effect here. That is for certain. So that's gonna be your root. That's gonna be your baseline.
Percentage, that was what you're saying, that was the part I missed, I guess. In the
Yeah.
beginning. That was, all of it is percentage.
All of that is percentage
There's
based.
calculations in there.
And
Yeah.
then, okay, but now because you've done it for so long, you now know the amount that technically needs to be in there, so that's why that number's on the top.
I know how much I'm gonna spend every single month.
Right, so then that's how you're allocating it kind of like that too, like in the forefront right there, like you just, that's what's standing out, like what, that number there.
But as you earn, well, this number right here is simply 42% of this. It's really all it is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, now I'm looking at it.
What ends up happening is it's very simple, right? It's we are in a roller coaster type business. Some people, if you're watching here and you're a W-2, you know exactly what you make.
Yeah.
Exactly what you make. You could extrapolate this and have all of your accounts there because you know exactly what's going to come in. And then you could adjust your percentages. For me, I started it where I wanted it to be conservatively, and I let it grow. Once I got it to the point where I was comfortable, then I was able to take overages out of that and create other accounts. So I would add accounts as time went on. Does anybody own, I know I asked about investment properties. Does anybody have a second home, a vacation home? Maybe somebody watching does. I want to end up one day, maybe in Florida. So I started an account so that little by little, a little extra money, it goes into that account. Little extra money, doesn't have to be big stuff. So that when the time comes, the money that I need for either a down payment or a purchase will not come from anything else but that. The other thing it does is it makes your goals a reality. Right? It does. It makes it go. If I know I want something, now I'm going to go towards that. So now my $3.50 cup of black coffee, I'm just going to make it at home. 16 cents, baby. Done. Right? I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious. But if you want the coffee, go have the coffee. I'm not telling you not to. Let me see if there's any other ones in here that I could go through that we've created. Mortgage transfer, I said, dining, Christmas. We have a Christmas account. That's like the old world Christmas club, right? Back in like the, maybe only a couple people are gonna know what that was from, like, I don't know, like 70s and 80s. They probably still do, but I don't know how many people take advantage of them. So I have my own Christmas club. You know what else is really good about that? Guys, ladies, plug your ears. Can't spend as much money. You can't just go out, I'm buying this gift and this is so cute and I'm buying this one, especially for the baby. I'm buying this, I'm buying that. No. This is how much money's in the Christmas account.
Oh, I divorce you now.
Yeah, that's okay. You know, my wife always says about that, right? She goes, you'd be so wealthy, she says. She goes, if you didn't have us, you'd be so wealthy. I'm like, can't answer it. Maybe, babe. Let me see what else I got. Bill and I, in order to buy those investment properties that we purchased, this was intentionality. We started out with $100 per check each. That's all we started out with. So you probably say to yourself, that's stupid. $100 a check. You're not ever going to buy a house. Yes, we did. Every time we sold the house, we each took $100 each from that and put it in there every single time. And boom, 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 and bought multiple houses. So don't be afraid to do that. I also tell you to teach your kids this because I think that's incredibly important. All of my kids are on this. My 19-year-old is on this. So that's it.
What age do you start them on?
Huh?
What age do you start them on?
As soon as they're old enough to have a bank account and start, spending or not spending money.
Yeah.
So the kicker is when they're a lot younger, you're not going to have as many accounts and they don't need as many accounts. For me, it's getting the habit of the practice of this and the discipline of this. So I look at my son, Ronnie, and Ronnie's 27 years old. He's, he had a house when he was still in college. He bought a house in Virginia. Now he's sold that, made some money on it. He has the house that he lives in currently, and he is on this spreadsheet for himself. This is how he operates his household. It's a good feeling to know that your money's there to pay your bills every month.
And you can start them as early as you want. Dave Ramsey, if anybody knows who Dave Ramsey is, explains it with a envelope system.
Correct.
And
Yeah, you should. Yeah.
She raised it with an envelope system.
Yeah.
And I actually started my son early on it. I wish he would follow, but.
On the envelope system.
Yeah, on the envelope system, and he didn't realize how much money he could save. And the only thing is, when you're dealing with a young person like that and they have access to that money, they see that pot start to grow and then they get greedy, like you said, and say, oh, I got all this money now, I can go out, and that's what happened.
Right. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
Right. So I think, again, the moral here, the basis is it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. And a lot of us will just give our money away. So if we want to get to a point where we have true financial freedom, you have to have incredible discipline. Incredible discipline. It's not easy, but it's not hard. It's you set it up and that is what you do. And you do not change that. You must, I don't care what the pennies say, that's what you transfer. And the minute you start to do this, your buckets will begin to overflow. Yes, you have to work. Yes, you have to earn the money. But even a W-2 employee, I'll end with this, one of my favorite stories ever. There was a woman who was a teacher. I don't think she ever earned any more than like $38,000 a year. This is years back, clearly. $38,000 a year. She passed away. Her estate was worth over $3 million.
Oh my God.
How? How is that even remotely possible? She didn't waste a dime. She probably didn't spend a dime either. Let's be honest. She probably still had shag carpet when she passed away in the house, right? Probably never made any crazy upgrades. But she invested her money wisely and compound interest. She had over $3 million in her estate. I'm not saying that all of us have to live that way and all of us have to do that. But if we all are wise with our spending, all of us will have savings that we never thought we would have. Any questions on this before we wrap up?
Which account you will open for interest earning besides the one for investment?
I have another one that I call Aiosa Investments, and for that one, I'll buy like stocks and bonds, or stocks that I want to buy, and crypto. And that, for me, right? You might have another way for the investment, and then the other one would be for homes. And so that's one for me and Bill. We have a separate account, and it's just to buy real estate. Okay.
Is that sorry? Is that a little more safe than, for example, I have some money in a 401k that we have a different space of the big investment. So
yeah,
it will be more safe to having an interest earning account that is like a fixed increments through the year, or having like something similar to 401k.
Let me open up by saying I am not a financial advisor and I don't play one on TV.
Speaking your experience.
But so what I would say to you on that front is definitely consult a professional, and they're going to give you different opinions, right? Real estate can go down. Traditionally, it's one of the greatest investments that we've ever had. So I like my money in real estate. Some people will buy specific stocks because they pay dividends. Other people just want, different blue chip. Other people are aggressive. And you're going to buy something that many people will tell us we're crazy for, and then all of a sudden I quadrupled my money in 30 days, right? So it's really up to your risk tolerance, I think. You seem conservative though, because if you have all that money separated for 401k, stay that way. That teacher more than $38,000 had $3 million. There's nothing wrong with a conservative approach at all. What do you got one?
Credit cards, you have few different credit cards for business and personal.
So we have a business credit card. Yes, we do. One. I've never used. Me and Bill, we're in this business for 20 years. So our partnership is about 14 years now. I never touched my Amex points. So I finally, so for my trip, I used it for my airfare. So awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, thought I would have had a lot more. Like 14 years is long getting out of it, but it's all right. I'll take it. But at home, personally, I love Discover. I think they have one of the best service programs. I've never had an issue with them. If I ever saw something on a credit card, I call. They're pleasant. They remove it almost instantaneously. They have to go through a process, but they've been great. And I even use them for a high yield savings account separately.
That was my next
Yeah.
question.
And then I'll take the money from my points from Discover, let it get to a certain amount, and then I transfer it and I put it into that. That's what I like. I look at that as long term. I don't touch that where people will take it and use it. So I think that has like $6,000 in it. Cool. Right? Like there it is. Right. Because you go like this, you're like, how'd that happen?
You can pay credit card with that.
Right, exactly. So I think we have that, and then we have an Amex, and then I have United through Chase Visa for points on that if I'm gonna fly that, but I don't use that too much. I think I'm gonna pull away from Amex and then just go to the Chase Visa and the Discover. I found that the rewards were the best from them.
Can you sending us this chart?
So I have to figure out how to. I'll probably talk to Jimena. And I'll create this once. And remember, this is gonna have the percentages built in. You guys can adjust them however you see fit. But you have to start with the budget. Routing numbers.
Yeah.
Boom. Thank you everybody for being here. Greatly appreciate it. I think there's gonna be lunch, you said? Did I hear that?
Guys, everyone stay for lunch. It's
Okay.
delicious.
So we never do these things without our partners, right? We have 3 incredible partners, and Mary's with us from Rate Mortgage today. So eat, mingle. If you've not spoken with Mary, I would greatly appreciate it if you in fact did that, because she supports us. Thanks, guys. Well, I don't even know how to stop that.
like one-on-ones after this?
Wait, want to do a one-on-one? I'll always do a one-on-one with my Megan Cole. Hey, now I'll do a one-on-one.
Let's go update with Randy.
Is it good?
It's Cavalier.
Oh, there it is.
You have to go back to the main. You want to grab something to eat first?